What's good, YouTube? Back again with another video. So we talked about truckers quitting, we talked about teachers quitting, we talked about lawyers quitting. Today we talk about nurses quitting. Let's get some understanding.
Top reason nurses are quitting nursing. Let's go. Number one, it's burnout. Very easy. That's like very known, well known. It's burnout. Nurses are expected to do everything, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have a lot of family members that are nurses, so I am pretty familiar with what's going on in the field. And like I said, nurses wear many hats. Not only are they the nurse, the social worker, the dietitian, the I mean anything you could really think of, the secretary, any role. It's about 10 different hats that nurses have to wear throughout a shift.
If we're talking like in the hospital, in long-term care, like those kind of heavy lifting type of jobs. It is so hard to do an underappreciated job all the time. And people, I mean, look at COVID, for example. Nurses went from 2020 being like, yay, we love all the nurses, to how dare they fight for their rights. Like, burnout, it's too much. It's hard. Number two, pay. And I'm not talking bedside pay. Well, let's talk bedside pay for a second. So nurses who did travel nursing during COVID, it was hard for them to adjust back because that money's not the same. But I'm not really talking.
Yes, yeah, a lot of nurses definitely got used to that COVID compensation during the pandemic, especially if you were traveling. Nurses was really running it up. It was nurses made three, four, $500,000 a year. I mean, nurses was really getting it in. Now, you know that things have settled down. Those rates are not really there anymore, and like I said, nurses are having a hard time adjusting.
Talking about them, I'm talking about all the others, particularly nurses who do education. Education is severely lacking, which I think is reason number three. But education for nurses, like those jobs are always open, and that's because the pay is abysmal. A salaried nursing instructor is making $50,000 a year. What am I going to do with that? When I was an instructor, I made $64,000 a year, and that was with a doctorate degree.
Yeah, that's nasty work. Like I said, it's tough for a lot of nurses to go back into teaching because the money is just not there. I mean, to have a doctorate degree and make 64,000. I mean, you got new grad nurses that's coming out and making that. So, like I said, that's quite an adjustment when it comes to pay.
Now,
But then again, when you think about it, I mean, education is a low-paying field in itself.
the administrators, they might make a little closer, like the nursing school administrators make a little bit closer to 100. That's crazy. That's crazy for the amount of work that they're asked to do. Number three, it is education. I think that schools have become very political, and so they're not able to fully prepare students for the field. And so a lot of times when people get out, they are not educated correctly, and that causes them not to last long. And then the last reason, I am going to say, it's just the healthcare system, patient satisfaction, those sorts of things. People are nasty. People are nasty to nurses. It kind of ties into burnout. I had an administrator tell a coworker of mine that she needed to be like a car salesman. That's not true. That's not true. I'm not selling you anything. I'm doing a service that I was educated to do.
Add that to one of the many roles that nurses have to play. Yes, you also have to understand the customer service aspect. And, you know, from what I heard, a lot of these patients can be very, very, very demanding. And then, like you think about, you have multiple patients. In a hospital, you don't have as many patients. Just think about the nurses that work in long-term care, when you have 30, 40 patients. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. It's insane.
This whole system has turned into a patient satisfaction score where nobody can win, and so nobody wants to deal with that because it's sometimes hard to do your job well and get good scores. And I can explain that in another video.
Sadly, it's a business. All they care about is dollars and cents.
Have you guys ever quit in person? I want to so bad right now. Like, I'm sitting on my lunch break and I just don't want to go back. I'm a nurse, but I don't have my own patients today. I'm basically being like the unit clerk, so miss me with the abandonment. I want to go in right now and tell them I'm done. I do have another job lined up already, and I did give them a 2 week notice, but I don't want to finish the 2 weeks. I don't want to finish this shift. But I just don't know. Like, I've never done it in person before, and I don't know. I don't really know what to tell them, honestly. Like, do I tell them why I'm quitting, or do I just walk in like I'm finna dip? I don't know.
You should probably tell them the real. So, like I said, they have a better understanding of what's going on. Not that they'll probably care, but hey, at least you could say you let them know. The one thing about nursing, though, that is a major plus is the amount of avenues that you could work in. I mean, you could work at the bedside, you could work on like a social worker side, you could work dialysis, you could be school nurse, psych. There's many different specialties within nursing. So that is a plus. So if you don't like one area, you can try to move into a different specialty.
About 500,000 nurses are planning to leave the profession within the next 4 years.
All new for you this morning. Jamie Warren is live looking into the impact here in Arizona. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Justin and Kaylee. It is a startling number, and the president of the Arizona Nurses Association tells me that burnout from the COVID-19 pandemic is partly to blame here, but there are other factors as well.
I'm even more excited to now go and be their primary RN.
Over the years, ASU has seen an increase in nursing school graduates, and that's important as Arizona ranks 7th in the country when it comes to states with the highest nursing shortage.
How are they feeling?
From what I hear, and this is a universal feeling that I get from all of the nurses that I speak to, regardless of the setting, is that staffing continues to be a crisis. They're tired. They're doing their best to keep up.
Heidi Sanborn, president of the Arizona Nurses Association, tells me there are a number of reasons, including pay, stress, and work-life balance.
I think there's this myth that you only work 3 days a week, so it's somehow a lighter schedule. But the reality is it's incredibly physically and psychologically demanding.
Yeah, you got to think about it. I mean, even for the nurses that do work 3 days a week, you're on your feet 12 hours nonstop. I know a lot of nurses complain about not even getting a bathroom break during 12 hours.
Even a rise in violence at the bedside.
This ranges from patients to the public and family members who are being aggressive and assertive towards nurses, where to the point nurses do not feel safe leaving their shift and walking to their car.
The issue is nationwide.
We need nurses more now than ever. Our population is growing. We have folks that are retiring, registered nurses that are retiring.
Results from a recent survey show 46% of nurses plan to change careers because the negative effects of the job. In return,
46%, that's insane.
Sanborn says that you as the patient could feel the impact.
An inability, if you're going to be admitted, to get a bed in a hospital room because there's not a nurse there to staff it. Delays in care are a significant concern.
Like I said, it's very, very, very tough being a nurse. You wear so many different hats and expected to do so many different things. And a lot of times the compensation is really not there. I know a lot of people hear about the travel nurses and they're making all this big money. But I mean, you have a lot of some of these nurses that are only making 30 bucks an hour, 28, $32 an hour on a med surge floor with a lot of responsibility. And a lot of them just are throwing the towel in. It's just not worth it.
I would rather crash my car than go back to work in the ICU. That was the most miserable job I've ever had in my entire life. Before the ICU, I had no mental illness. Now I got depression. I got anxiety. I should see a therapist. I should probably be on medication, but here we are. You would think that seeing people literally die in a traumatic fashion, that would scar you. Turns out it's just your shitty coworkers. I've told this before, but one coworker would only call me Jackie Chan. I wish I was Jackie Chan. And then one other coworker said that I belong doing kung fu in a dojo than being a nurse.
Wow, that sounds like you had some pretty shitty employees. I mean, not employees, but coworkers, and that's downright bullying. Like I said, you should have documented that type of information. Let your charge nurse know. Let your whoever your supervisor was, and if nothing was addressed about that, you should have filed a lawsuit. Like I said, you should be able to work in a safe environment. You shouldn't be harassed or bullied when you're just trying to do your job. a job that's already stressful at that. The ICU, that's no joke.
I don't know where this comes from. And I would fantasize about crashing my car every day on the way to work because I would rather drive my car into a tree than go back to work. But I worked in the ICU, so if I crash my car, I will just end up back at work. So I was just...
Damn. Imagine you having thoughts of crashing your car and you say, you know what, I'm not going to do it because I'll wind up ending up at work anyway. That's nasty work.
stuck. I'm out now, but I have friends who still work in the ICU, and you're one of the good ones. There are good ICU nurses out there, but like my unit was just awful, and I just needed to get out, and I don't want to ever go back to a situation like that.
Just like with any job, your coworkers can make or break it.
Nursing school, I never thought that I would leave the field within like 5 years, but that's what happened. My mom has been a NICU nurse for almost 17 years now, and I thought I would at least make it to 10. But within my first year of working as a nurse, I experienced lateral violence, bullying, retaliation, and severe burnout to
The saying that, what's the saying in nursing, that nurses eat their young? It's very true. As we see in these clips, pretty much everyone has mentioned bullying. Like I said, totally unacceptable.
the point where I wanted to leave my unit, but my manager was blocking my ability to switch units, so I felt trapped. Around that same time when I was...
See, when you get into situations like this at a job, you have to document these things. Document and build a case. So ultimately, you get the last laugh when you file a lawsuit and that hospital has to pay you out.
Question for my nurses. New grad nurses, why all of y'all quitting?
I graduated from nursing school in 2014 and I got my first nursing job about a couple weeks after I passed my NCLEX. And these old nurses ran me ragged. They bullied me every single day. I would walk into work and it's like, why are you so happy? Ugh, what is there to be happy about? And it's just like, dang, can I live? Can I, have my little cup, my...
Sad. They saw you was young and full of life and vibrant, and looking at all the positives that life had to offer, and they were just bitter and miserable, and they wanted to make your life bitter and miserable. Sad.
Cute little scrubs, just enjoy my day. I was the only black nurse in that facility, and they tried to make me feel like the dirt below the dirt. If I asked a question, they would look me up and down. They would tell me to go look it up. They would disrespect me in front of patients, doctors, staff. The CNAs were black, so they would go out of their way to intentionally help me because they saw what these nurses was doing to me, which made them hate me more because the CNAs responded to me, but not them. But I promise you, I was as quiet as kept. I barely spoke because every time I said something, you don't know anything. You're fresh meat, straight like that. Straight like that.
Imagine being a new grad nurse. I mean, you ask a question and you're demeaned and belittled. It's crazy.
Meanwhile, these were like LPNs, and no shade, but like they had me crying in my car on the way to work in the morning. Like I really had like a pre-life crisis because I'm like, is this what I really signed up for? To have old nurses bully me and make me feel like crap. I lasted about 6 months at that job before I quit. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. These people are evil. Nursing is already hard. Okay, so if your staff is mean, I can see why people quit.
One thing you also have to note about the nursing profession, as we all know, is dominated by women. And it's a lot of cattiness that goes on these units. Like I said, if you happen to be a nurse and you're attractive looking, you're getting attention from, dietary and maintenance and other men on the unit, boy, your life could be hell just because other people like the way you look, and that can cause you to be targeted.
No, because I just got off. I can't even talk. I just got off shift 106. Let me fucking vent. Let me vent. First of all, walk in this patient room, right? I can see the veins from Mars, okay? I could see the veins from Pluto. I got cocky. I said, which vein do you want me to go in? Oh! This is so humiliating! I was like, which vein you want me missed it. Oh my God!
I'm guessing she was trying to start an IV and she was talking big and made herself look like a fool.
I just got off my shift, had my healthcare job, I'm a CNA, and I'm just like realizing this is not going to be the job that I'm going to want to have long term. Not just because of the physical toll it's taking on me, working night shift, working 12 hours, the physicality of it, which is tough, but just the mental and emotional part of this. The mental and emotional is just getting to me. Like I got into this job because I was a stay-at-home mom for so long, and I love being a mom, and I felt like I was a natural caregiver. And so I thought my caregiving skills that I use with my kids would translate into this job, and it kind of did at first. But the problem is that mentally and emotionally, it's taking too much out of me.
Shout out to this, this sister here. Being a CNA, certified nursing assistant, very, very tough job, very physically demanding. Like I said, you're literally turning patients in some cases that are can't help turn at all, complete dead weight. You know, you're talking about people 2, 3, some 4, 500 pounds. Like I said, that's a very, very, very tough job to have. Like I said, very physically demanding.
And I'm finding myself kind of in this mental block with dealing with the people, the patients, and I feel like I'm losing my empathy, and I'm feeling like cynical. I'm feeling kind of irritated about it all. And I know that's a sign that it's time to go.
Yeah, that is a time to go. Like I said, you're experiencing burnout. Your patience is very short. God forbid you wind up saying something to a patient. You know, a patient gets smart with you. You say something back, and then you could wind up losing your license. When you get to that point, yeah, it's time to reset and take a break.
I quit my dream job. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm a new grad. I graduated in May of 2024 as an RN, and I got what I thought was my dream job at graduation. Well, actually, before graduation, I got the job. And I quit 3 months later. So I got my first job in the ICU, which I cried happy tears when I got the job. And I still am trying to come to terms with my decision and like what I've done. But I'm trying to trust in God and know that things will work out. So a little backstory, I did an externship while I was in nursing school. So between second and third semester, I actually was put in the ICU for my externship, and I absolutely loved it. It was probably the best experience I've ever had. And that's when I knew that that's what I wanted to do when I graduated. And I also have plans to be a flight nurse, so I knew that I had to do that anyways, that or the ER. And yeah, I just loved the ICU. And then I ended up switching to my internship, and as an intern, they move you around on different floors. So I got to work on every floor in the hospital, and I still would find myself wanting to be in the ICU, wanting to go back to the ICU. So I knew that that's where I wanted to work. So when I graduated, I did a panel interview at the hospital, and I had a few offers. But for some time before work, I wasn't inching. I literally felt like I was going to kill somebody every shift, and that was...
Yeah, she's a little long-winded here, so I'm trying to get to the actual point.
I was inching closer and closer to ending up on my own. Orientation for ICU is 12 weeks. So I was almost done with orientation, and it was just so bad. I felt like everyone was overly confident in me. I felt like I had no confidence in myself, and I didn't understand why other nurses were just so casual about letting me do things in there that I didn't even know about. I literally felt like I was going to kill somebody every shift.
We're going to stop it there, but it sounds like the gist of what she's saying, she's really long-winded. It sounds like she didn't feel like she was prepared to go on her own. Like I said, again, you're working in the ICU. You know, that's these people are, in critical condition. You know, they depend on the nurse. You're their eyes, you're their ears, you're their everything. So, I mean, I could understand why she would be very hesitant to go out on her own. But My nurses in the comments, let me know. Um, are you still in the occupation? Are you still in the field? What about nurse burnout? Have you experienced it? Matter of fact, just let me know your overall experience in nursing and do you feel like it was worth it? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.